Akeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
Many thanks for tuning into House Tickets, your regular legislative digest on the activities of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am Dihelia Mamza, your guide. The House Public Accounts Committee is a special committee that helps the legislature hold government accountable through the expenditure of its agencies. On this episode of House Ticket, we had a chat with Chairman of the House Public Accounts Committee in its efforts on the recovery of looted funds in public offices, synergy with relevant anti-graft agencies, challenges confronting the committee, and also recommendations, details of which we will bring you in the course of the program. The ad-hoc committee investigating hanging and unclaimed funds in the banks held a meeting recently, even as a member addressed a media conference on an increase in banditry across the nation. Details of this and more after this short break. Please stay tuned.
If we set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood, we will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
There was no plenary last week because of the APC primaries. However, committees of the House have resumed activities and lawmakers have returned to work. One of such committee that met last week was the ad-hoc committee set up by the House to investigate hanging and unclaimed funds. There was also a media briefing by a lawmaker where he raised concerns about the impact of banditry and kidnappings on the image of the country. For details of this, let's take our first report on the program as compiled and presented from our studio.
In January, the House, after deliberating on a motion, resolved to mandate an ad hoc committee to investigate the suspicious and unclaimed funds trapped in the banks, including advance payments by the government for contracts. The committee was also to investigate the unremitted funds collected on behalf of agencies and departments of the federal government by commercial banks, among other resolutions. As part of its investigation, the ad hoc committee met with representatives of System Specs, an organization engaged by the federal government to collect funds on its behalf.
Welcome to the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on unclaimed funds.
Addressing representatives of the organization in a meeting, the chairman of the committee, Representative Unyime Idem, said the support his committee was calling for was in terms of providing prompt information on payment made through the scheme by government agencies to the federal government accounts. According to the lawmaker, the recovery of the funds will help mitigate deficit in the country's budget, which are being funded year in, year out through borrowing.
The idea of this committee is to ensure that when this money is fully recovered, it's going to help us to mitigate the budget deficit that we are experiencing year in, year out as a country. So the House, in its wisdom, on the 26th day of January this year, set up this committee to carry out this assignment. So we expect the organization to also exhibit cooperation in this regard.
In his response, leader of System Specs delegation, Abayomi Oyegun, disclosed that the federal government engaged the services of System Specs, which is today known as Remitter, in the year 2012 and 2015 for payment into government account. Oyegun assured the committee of the organization's commitment to work with the ad hoc committee. The Nigerian Integrated Water Resources Management Commission and the Bank of Agriculture also made appearances before the ad hoc committee, but were directed to provide, among other things, documents relating to the agency's account in various commercial banks, advance payment guarantees, stamp duties, value-added tax, and reports of their agency's audited accounts. Representative Bamidele Salami has described the rising cases of bandits attacks and abductions of Nigerians as a stake to national conscience. The lawmaker representing Ede North and South Federal Constituency of Osun State was speaking during a press conference at the House of Representative Media Center on Wednesday, the 1st of June 2022. He noted that the attacks and abductions are becoming one too many.
And as an individual, I'm worried by the turn of events in our dear nation.
The lawmaker then called on President Muhammadu Buhari to ensure that the Kaduna-Abuja train kidnapped victims and many other kidnapped Nigerians in the den of kidnappers and bandits are released as soon as possible.
It is to our embarrassment as a nation that our wives, mothers, fathers, husbands, children get routinely kidnapped at will by bandits and terrorists, with many of them losing their lives even after the payment of ransom. Statistics of kidnapping in the country chill the bones. A report by the International Center for Investigative Reporting, the ICIR, shows that from 2018 there have been a steady increase in the number of kidnapped victims. The figure rose from 987 victims in 2018 to 1,395 in 2019. Last year, 2021, the figure rose from 2,865 to 5,287, with many of them being children and women. This year alone, several hundred Nigerians have been kidnapped, and the most harrowing being the attack on a train along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line in Kaduna State on the 28th of March of this year, where 168 people were reportedly kidnapped, 8 persons killed, including a young medical doctor who was due to travel out of the country the very week of that incident.
He also spoke on a recently passed Senate bill which prohibits the payment of ransom for the release of kidnapped victims.
It's the issue of the bill that was passed by our sister chamber, criminalizing the issue of ransom payment. With due respect to that institution, I think it is a misplaced attention, because if a citizen has the misfortune of having his son or daughter or wife or anyone kidnapped, he will do all that is within his own capacity to get them freed.
The program is still House Tickets. Like I mentioned at the beginning, the House Committee on Public Accounts is a special committee recognized by the Constitution. It scrutinizes audited reports of federal government agencies to check expenditure, wastages, etc. Chairmanship of the Public Accounts Committee is usually held by a member of the opposition party. Lawmaker Oluwole Oke is the Chairman House Committee on Public Accounts of the 9th House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. During an interview in his office, Representative Oluwole Oke explained more on the role of his committee.
The functions of the committee are well enshrined both in the Constitution and the House rules. And we are to receive the reports of the Auditor General of the Federation and conduct public hearings. Invite those people alleged to have done one wrong or the other, and then come up with reports on our findings and lay same before the House.
Speaking on the key achievements and success of the committee, the lawmaker said due to the activities of his committee, over 95% of the ministries, departments and agencies are now rendering accounts.
Before we came on board, even the Auditor General's reports, he lamented that over 300 MDs were not rendering accounts to government, to his office. And we took this up and then brought them, and today the Auditor General is happy that over 95% of the MDAs are now running accounts as at 20. That's one of our key achievements. There are statutory bodies, corporations, that initially were not rendering accounts at all, like NNPC. I'm happy to inform you that NNPC now renders accounts as at Wendy.
Representative Oluwole Oke also spoke on the synergy between his committee and relevant anti-graft agencies, where he said that most of the anti-graft agencies rely on the report of the committee as a key instrument to do their jobs.
The anti-graft agencies mostly use our reports. Ours is to consider the observations of the Auditor General of the Federation, conduct public hearings, and often than not, you see these anti-graft agencies attending our public hearings, even when you are not aware. So they take their notes and they work with that. And our reports is one of the key instruments that the anti-graft agencies also use to do their job.
Moving on to the challenges that the committee has contended with so far, the lawmaker had this to say.
The challenge is that, one, the Auditor General who brought the report is an employee of the executive arm. He was appointed by the executives. The same person also conducts investigation, audit, the same executive appoints him, and brings his report to another arm of government, the legislature. So, once we send in our own reports, it is the same executive that has been indicted or investigated that is also going to sit on it. So that is the biggest challenge that we have in the land. And except and until we have what we call in other democracies, Public Accounts Tribunal, an independent body that will consider the reports of the Public Accounts Committee and apply sanctions where necessary.
As the chairman House Committee on Public Accounts, Representative Oluwole said synergy between agencies is the only way to fight corruption. He explains more.
My advice would be that we should deter it, that we should work in synergy to deter it. Because when corruption occurs, the corrupt person is empowered, is emboldened. He has money to fight back. So don't allow it to happen.
On a personal note, the lawmaker said his experience as the chairman House Committee on Public Accounts has been an eye-opener, and at the same time having access to issues that ordinarily he wouldn't have. It has encouraged him to do more alongside with members of his committee. The Public Accounts Committee meets almost every day in the House, querying reports from the Auditor General's office, and because it oversees the office of the Auditor General too, it also oversees their budgets. We will take a review of some of its meetings as we see firsthand the committee in action. Keep watching.
We have to do away with the issue of...
If there are challenges, you can always come to the National Assembly.
We must back that effort.
If there was only 2% left, why didn't the ministry inject some money for 20?
Why transferring for the same area that they have operated there? And you expect to come and clap for you?
The Public Accounts Committee was at the Audit House Wednesday, the 28th of September 2021, during which lawmakers perused the financial report of the Office of the Auditor General. In the course of analyzing budgetary performance of the office from 2019 to 2021, lawmakers identified loopholes and anomalies in spendings by the office, describing some of it as reckless. Items such as welfare package of the staff was queried, as there was an increase from about 12 million naira to 77 million naira between the budgets of the year 2019 to 2020.
You said welfare packages. 2019 you said 12 million. And I begin to wonder how in 2020 the welfare package jumped to 77 million.
You audit all the ministries, the agencies, everything you audit. Who audits this office?
There is no law that has provided for this office to be audited, and we objected to the audit. This is oversight. If it is oversight, there is no way I would have adequately prepared for the questions you come here to ask. So if it is evidence you want, constitute an audit. We make our records available for audit.
Aside looking through their financials, he has told all of us the problems his office is facing, ranging from shortage of personnel to inadequate funding, even all the performance audit that we're all talking about. You also need money to do them. So these are all the issues that we will pay attention to legislatively, through legislative advocacy, and more importantly, we were able to see through the audit bill, that will guarantee the independence of his office.
Tell us, you have told us, Mr. Ike.
Tuesday, the 26th of April 2022, the House Committee on Public Accounts, led by its chairman, Representative Oluwole Oke, carried out investigation into issues of revenue collections and leakages, remittances and other related financial matters by government agencies. Among the organizations that made submission at the hearing are two private ones, namely First Bank of Nigeria and MTN. The committee chairman explained why.
Let me state the reasons why we invited First Bank and MTN, because they are private organizations. Ordinarily, the parliament does not meld into internal operations of private companies, except we have reasons in law, in facts, and based on issues. It is then we can invite them here. The Auditor General, pursuant to Section 85 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, laid his report, and in his report, he observed, as he will read out, that Nigerian Customs Services were overcharged by the banks in the area of COT, and listed First Bank and several other banks. It's on that basis that we invited First Bank.
The chairman gave reasons for MTN's invitation to appear before the committee.
We have invited MTN over tax evasion.
Yes, in the report we presented, it was shown that we charged the commission due to us of 30 kobo per bill, but in addition to that, there was another charge of 10 kobo per thousand due to the service provider for the collection, that is the platform provider InterSwitch Nigeria Limited. Based on the grace given to us by the committee, we have gone back, checked our records, and discovered that the presentation we made was actually erroneous because of a glitch that we had. So what was generated, what was automated, actually carried the charge for InterSwitch commission as a separate charge instead of it being contained in the charge due to the bank. So it was overstated. In this appearance before the committee, Mr. Chairman, we are presenting a fresh report with your permission to tender. We have sent a copy of it to the Secretariat, and I'll read out the summary of that report with your permission, Mr. Chairman.
For a bank of First Bank standing society to make a presentation admitted on oath to show the sum you collected which belongs to you, and according to you is 28.3 million naira, out of which you are expected to settle interswitch.
And that is what I mentioned from the beginning, that the first one we presented was wrong, because there was a technical glitch when we were generating that report, and that was why it showed the charge that was made for interswitch.
Rather than waste time on this matter, what we would do, Mr. Chairman, is to demand from Nigerian Customs net payments made by First Bank to them for the year under review, gross earning and net payments that Nigerian Customs acknowledged. The bank will also have to give us the last page of the bank statement for that year.
Okay, that's the submissions.
Yes.
Okay. Per the letter that we received from the esteemed committee, we were requested to submit names of officials from the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment who visited our offices for asset inspection. We were also requested to provide records of remittances of withholding tax and VAT payments to tax authorities and records of transfer price returns as filed with FIRS. We have submitted all of these requests to the esteemed committee.
And fair hearing demands that we hear from you. It would be wrong of us to allege tax evasion on the part of MTN, even though you've claimed that you are the highest taxpayer in Nigeria.
So we didn't claim, the FIRS declared us the most tax compliant company.
I'm not aware. The last time you were here,
yes, sir.
FIRS was here.
The award was about 2 weeks ago.
The last time you were here, FIRS was here.
Yes, sir.
Abi?
Yes, sir.
And if FIRS was asking you that if somebody enter your premises, you should provide evidence that that person enter your premises to inspect your assets.
Yes.
You are here with the leadership of FIRS.
That's true.
So where you met and now they now judge you as the highest taxpayer is what I don't know.
Also appearing before the committee same day were officials of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB and the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC.
The sources of our revenues, they are divided into two categories.
Speak louder, sir.
They are divided into two key categories. One from federal government independent revenue. The other side is operating surpluses we generate from other operations of the Corps, e.g. driver license. If you check the presentation...
Accepted, sir.
Okay, sir.
What Honorable Oga asked is, people who come to you for driving license or offenders, when they make payment, which account do they pay to?
Okay. For the federal government dependent revenue, it goes straight to the CRF account.
No, you're not getting what I'm saying.
Okay.
Sir, if for example,
yes, sir.
You know, like in the case of Nigerian Customs now, they engage banks who collect revenue on their behalf, and the money is swept the next day to TSA account with CBN.
Yes.
So what is the practice in your own case?
It's what I'm explaining, sir.
Yes, sir.
For the operating surpluses, it goes to the sub-account of the TSA.
We are not talking about surpluses now, sir. We are not talking, we are talking about your revenue collection.
The collection, it goes to CRF account.
Sir?
It goes to CRF account.
So,
yes, sir.
So you don't have a checking account? You don't have a checking account? You don't, the account that the money goes into, you have no access to it?
No, that's what I was trying to explain to you. That for the federal government independent revenue, like fines, sale of unserviceable items, and contractor registration, that one go to the federal government account.
What a plate number?
For the plate number, that one go into our sub-TSA account.
This way, do a letter to CBN. Ask CBN to give us the bank statements of Road Safety Corps. We will imbibe the rule of recent saying, let's take 21 and 20, so that we don't stress ourselves by looking into. Okay.
It is on that note that we draw the curtains for this week's edition of the program. Don't forget to keep your comments, observations, and questions coming in through our social media platforms showing on your screen. We'll do our best to get our representatives address them accordingly. Let's do this again next week on this same station. Until then, bye for now.